Anine Abels, and I'm Jane Bursey. Anine is from Belthorn Primary School, and I'm from what I'll tell you just now. And this is something of the journey we've been on.
Okay. I started at Belthorn Primary as the principal about 7 years ago. It's a relatively small school, nestled in Conquest and Central Avenue, Athlone. So it is a quintile 4 school, which presents challenges in itself, which we will speak about a little bit later. In order for the school to be able to provide the best quality education that we feel we can, we've taken on 3 SGB teachers so that we could keep our class numbers to an average of about 30 to 32 in every class. That has a financial burden on the school. However, there have been moments of complete grace where we were never in a position where we had to tell people we couldn't pay them. But of course, it comes at a compromise of funding that should go somewhere else. And so the partnership also looked at some of those possibilities. We're supported by the National Schools Nutrition Program. As we know, children who have not eaten and have hungry tummies cannot learn. And we serve a number of children from youth and childcare centres who surround our school, about 5 of them. It has a significant impact on our school and has influenced the culture of our school and the possibilities of our school. We're supported by international volunteers throughout the year, with an average of 12 every year, providing various levels of services to our school, whether it's developing programs of their own, sports, chess, dance, or whether it is supporting in the classroom, as you see over there, as well as interns in association with universities across the world, one of them being Wisconsin University, who currently is running a program for social regulation with our 7 to 9-year-olds.
Okay, so just quickly and briefly about myself. I used to work for an education company called Pearson. I managed Pearson Africa all the way up to Sub-Saharan Africa. I used to work in the South African market as well. We produced textbooks, we did teacher training, we did assessment, we did all kinds of stuff to do with education, including education management. Before that I was a teacher, etc., etc. I'm grounded in education. I grew up with education in my blood. And now I'm an education and business management consultant working on selected projects in South Africa and abroad, and I love the life.
Okay, the vision for our school is that we do create an environment that is caring for kids, and very happy that it is now in alignment with the WCED strategy for values-based education. So that's very encouraging. We create spaces within our school where children can get to care for each other, where they can companion with each other through a process of restorative practices, and where they can care for other little creatures besides themselves, and transforming the culture of the school with Jane's inputs and support, realized a number of these small wins and big changes. Okay. Part of our partnership plan looked at the provisioning of infrastructure at Belthorn Primary. Now, as we mentioned, we have 3 SGB teachers which we have to support. So it impacts on the funds that are available for a few other things equally important. The school approached the EPWP for assistance with the physical resources and maintenance of the school. Many organizations experiencing resource constraint were not able to support us. However, it has been a journey where people have come forward, and there have been relationships, for example, with Rotary Constantia and Grooteskiel, who have done amazing work with us, and in consultation with Jane. I was glad that she was around when they were there to add some insight and choose the colors of the shades. Thank you, Jane. Okay.
talk about the LTC.
And Jane's connection with Mascu Miller Longman has addressed one of our other goals, and that was looking at the needs of the teachers and how best they can support the children in the classroom. So they identified a few things that they'd really like, and that was where Jane came in and was able to secure a 50% discount on everything that we needed.
However, both of these things led us to consider the whole issue around the sustainability of the school's funding going forwards. So we embarked on this project, which sort of became the No Fees project, whereby we looked at school fees collection in the school, which currently, 2016 was standing at 60% of fees collected from parents. That is obviously not an ideal situation, because it means the school is not gaining the funding that it should have to support itself properly. So we did a survey, parent survey, a classroom survey. We looked at the information that the school holds, etc. It was quite laborious, but we gathered information. And this is what we found. Approximately 35% of all parents in that school, of children in that school, are unemployed. Now, obviously, paying school fees therefore becomes difficult. 80% of learners come to school by taxi. They pay $600 a month for their taxi fare. You do the numbers, and that works out to about 2 million rand a year that parents are paying in taxi fees. Wow. No wonder they're not paying their school fees. And 82% of the learners are living mostly where the schools are quintile 1 and quintile 2. Now, for those of you who know all about what that means, you'll understand, but very briefly, quintile 1 and quintile 2 schools get more funding than quintile 2, which is the quintile of Belthorn. Quintile 4 of Belthorn. But the learners are coming out of areas where the schools are quintile 1 and 2, which means that, in fact, this school should have that same status, because they are catering to learners whose parents can't afford to pay the fees. Anyway, so the question became, should Belthorn seek a change in quintile status? Should we seek a change in no fees status? With the help of PFP, Equal Education gave us a legal opinion, gave us and other schools a legal opinion, that there was some leeway to challenge this, but we decided to rather look at the no fees status. We did a whole complicated financial analysis. We looked at what would happen if Belthorn became a no-fees school, and essentially they would land up with less income, but with more assured income. So going forward, this still has to be resolved. How do we make up the difference in income? But more importantly, what happens during the process of applying for a change of status? Because there could be a gap where the school doesn't have any fees.
Okay, yes. So early on in our partnership, we discussed the possibility of building and strengthening community. So we were really chuffed when we had the training session on community building. And in our COPs, there were a number of challenges around how we're going to do this. It seemed like a really big deal to get a group of people and to practice the principles of what it takes to build a community. We realized that our community consists of a number of different people. So it was rethinking the possibility of community for Belthorn Primary School. One community is our parent community. So there you see a picture of a small parent community, about 6 parents who got together on Saturday morning from 9:30 to 1:30, and they were part of an empowerment program in the Virtues Project, which we have running at our school. Another part of community is the very people who work with you. So those are my public service community. And it seems that the initiative for community building is built out of crisis. So crisis happens and we need to merge people together. That was a particular crisis that was dealt with in the principles of community building. We met every single morning of the second term holidays. and we shared our gifts, and we looked at the possibility of the day, and we were able to have our school clean and tidy for our learners to learn and enjoy. Okay, so the impact of PFP was that I got a partner that I've been waiting for. And I'm very happy that we found each other. Acquiring the skills of time to think, delicious listening. I'm still trying really hard to apply that in my personal space, but over to you, Jane.
Flawless Consulting Workshop really helped us to look at a different way of approaching people and contracting with them. And Anine has used this in the school, in contracting with partners in the school, and I've found it personally very, very helpful in my consulting work as well. I wish I'd actually done that workshop many years ago in my professional life.
So the community building workshop gave us the concrete steps on how to build community and how to take the small steps and make it a significant impacting environment and contributors.
And our COP meetings, our community of practice meetings, were always very good places where we could share in a safe community, with Michelle leading, and share experiences, gain answers to some of the questions we were maybe thinking about, which other people were also thinking about, slightly different way maybe, but we could still learn from that. Our triad meetings gave us the space to look at very specific issues and work out how we would address them. And as you can see, we had some fun too. So where do we go from here? We're probably going to continue, or we are going to continue our partnership, maybe slightly scaled down, but we're going to continue talking to each other and working together for the benefit of Belthorn Primary. You don't need that, do you? She needs that.
Every time you show up with such a presence and such life. There's kind of made sense to me when I saw you with Jane. So I'm it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience to witness you.
Hands-on and practical issues like that.
Yeah, like really getting to the grit of stuff, eh?